What's happening, guys? All right, it is Mindset Monday. Why do I stress mindset so much? Why do I focus on it almost like to a psychotic level? It's because without the proper mindset, you are going to struggle. Now, there's a number of ways to develop mindset, and I've talked about that in the past, and I'm sure I'll talk about it in the future. However, let's talk about another piece of mindset. There's a saying that the brain is the ultimate weapon and everything else is supplemental. And that is a phenomenal quote. I think about it often. I say it to the people that I train on a regular basis. I say it to myself on a regular basis, like just as a reminder to not get caught up chasing gear, chasing the latest gadget or latest training technology, but just to stay focused on what's important now. And it's always going to be mindset and the brain. Talk about a piece of mindset that maybe I don't talk about enough, which is adaptability. When we think of mindset, we think of being tough and resilient and indomitable will and not giving up and all of those good things. And those are all essential pieces of mindset. But another piece of that is adaptability, that desire to look for a solution rather than focus on the problem. If you were ever tested, and by that I mean you were ever put in a situation where you are facing serious bodily injury, you're facing death, no matter what the cause. It could be an act of nature, it could be a car accident, it could be just any number of things, as well as a criminal assault. Or maybe even you're facing health issues, a fight against cancer or some other disease that could possibly take you out. If you've ever been in that situation, or you ever will find yourself in that situation, what's going to be really important is the ability to problem solve, the ability to continuously look for an answer, to search and not fixate on the problem, which is an aspect of the freeze. Like we have the fight, flight, freeze, and fawn, rather than freezing, which is that hyper focus on the problem and the immediacy of the problem, and we shut everything else off that could help us solve it. Instead, we want to train ourselves to be problem solvers. We want to train ourselves to look at the situation, assess immediately, and start to act quickly towards solving that problem, whatever it might be. Here's a couple things you can do, and it seems silly. The number one thing I really think is jujitsu. Just putting yourself in that situation where you're battling panic, you're battling claustrophobia, all that stuff. The very real threat, at least to your body and your primal brain, of death or serious bodily injury when somebody's choking you out or hyperextending an arm or whatever. Your primal, like that primal center in your head, really kind of kicks into fight or flight, and you have to learn how to manage that and problem solve your way out of it, not succumb to the panic and tap because you're freaking out, but actually work your way through that situation. It's super important, and that's pretty much one of the easiest ways to tap into that adaptability side. The other side is to put yourself in training situations with your friends, get some people together and create some scenarios where you have to work your way through. And it's pretty easy. You can create a scenario of what happens if we are faced with a tornado, a hurricane, an earthquake, a flood. What would we do? And just problem solve your way through it. You can tabletop it. You don't want to put yourself in that situation unnecessarily. So how would you do it? You tabletop it. You just sit down and you just troubleshoot, either by yourself or with a group of friends, and you just run through all the scenarios, all the contingencies, everything that you would do in that situation to solve that problem. And you play the what if game. Now, this was something that was shared with me early on in my law enforcement career, was play the what if game. Ask yourself, what if? What if I pull up on this scene and this is what I find? What if I pull up on this vehicle crash and there's a person missing an arm or a leg or someone crushed and trapped in the car? What am I going to do to be an asset in that situation to bring resolution to the problem rather than add to the problem. How will I react? And you just what if it, and you play it through in your head, and you actually visualize what I'm going to do in that situation. It helps if you've been in that situation, but a lot of times those are one-offs, right? Like how do I what if a suicide by cop if I've never been in that situation? Fortunately or unfortunately, according to how you look at it, I've been in that situation, so I know what I did. I also know what I should have done or could have done that would have worked out better. And so now when I replay it in my head, even though I'm not a police officer any longer, I still play out those scenarios and think about what would have been a better solution. How could I have done this better? So that's the thing for today. It's a Mindset Monday, and it's not always about seeing red and raging and going in berserker mode. Sometimes it's about solving a problem. That's another aspect of mindset that we should be working on. Play the what if game, put yourself in situations where you have to be adaptable, tabletop exercises with friends where you can troubleshoot with each other, you can debrief with each other and force each other to think deeper and push harder into those things. And then also get yourself into some jiu-jitsu where you have to problem solve at the speed of life. All right, guys, have a good one.